everybody, and today we're going to talk about the new special of Geats, of Kamen Rider Geats. This one we're going to look at Kamen Rider Geats Extra Kamen Rider Gazer. So we start out with Niram, about people talking about himself on wanting to create a reality writer show with a sense of realism for an audience to the point of actually rebelling against Swell, which ended up with a bad result. Which is similar to what happened in the original show where, he pretty much got killed by Samus. And interestingly, we see the future where Gene actually explained Ace where he's actually from, and Nero is recreated with his ID core by a computer voice, with Gene being there to explain to him what's actually happening and how he came back without his memories. As he explained that as long as they die in a different era, they'll always be reborn back in the future as long as their body and memory exists in the future and are no longer erased from that timeline. And it explains how they actually will always come back, which is actually pretty foreshadowing because keep this in mind for the ending. And Nero actually started to glitch out as he tried to regain his memory. As Gene said that Swell is gone and that things are starting to change around here with upper management, as he tells Nero to rest, as computer voice said that he's gonna reform Nero's memory. As we see how Nero explains how he was chosen as producer, and he explains how the role of producer is used and how it's made. The first step is for him and Sarah to choose the most interesting era as producer, and the first time we see in the past of his memory saying that the first setting he chose was for Japan in the 1500 AD, which is pretty much the Sengoku period, as a place of authentic human nature being found and during a time of civil unrest, which that is the explanation why he decided to choose that area. As Nero later explained that the next step is to find sponsors from that time period to help out with the DGP. And we see both Samus and Niram go to make a deal with a daimyo, which kind of makes sense that he will make a deal with this type of person, as he even gets a pamphlet from them, or a type of scroll, to explain what the DGP is and say that he'll accept if it means that he gets his ideal wish to come true in an ideal world. It makes sense that they will actually choose this person because it was during a time of warring states, and these type of daimyo were fighting over control of Japan. And interestingly, the daimyo is played by Hiroyuki Muraoka. I probably butchered that name, I'm sorry. And he's pretty much just a well-known actor in the toku genre. He actually played a lot of characters, a lot of suit actors during the time as Kamen Rider and Sentai as well. It's pretty nice to actually have him in this film as a type of extra. So they make a deal with Daimyo in order to become sponsorship. And the next step to elect a game master, but not really important in this special, as we just see an unnamed game master. As they will just do a job. But then the next most important step is to satisfy the audience, as the audience will select a specific writer from the era in order to choose them to become a Kamen Rider. At this time we see Gene select and choose a renowned swordsman and of the era to make his writer, as he hoped that this will make his heart steer, as Nero and Sama decide to choose a gorilla ID core for him. Not really sure they actually showed the name because I can't really see if they actually have a name for this guy, but whatever the case is, they just give him an ID core with a gorilla motif. We then meet our navigator of this game, and especially a long-standing game by what Sama explained, saying that her name is Mil, and Nero and Mil decide to enjoy some of the spell of Sengoku for a time period as a sense of tasting the era, and even share some dango with each other. And pretty much Nero starts to love this dango, saying that it feels very real, and pretty much starts this addiction that we see in the actual show, and during the present time he's just eating dango all the time. And Mil say that it's very important to always fill your stomach with pretty much delicious food all the time. It's not a bad thing for the era, and learn about what the era is like that they're actually going to set the game in. After that, Nero and Mead enjoy their tea as they explain that producer must see the era to have a better understanding and experience for the audience and to have their enjoyment of the show. As we meet the previous producer, Nemo, come in as he tells Nero to help him with any question because he wants them to have a perfect game. So he's pretty suspicious, and the fact that they keep repeating perfect is pretty suspicious as well to see. Especially after that we see Nemo making up with the Rook Jamato along with the gardener who is named Archimedes, as he starts to whole thing about using ID cores as a fertilizer for the Jamato to make them evolve. As Neville explained that he wants the Jamato to evolve further with the Earth ecosystem. As the gardener pretty much warns him about it, and Neville just tells him to just, be quiet, silent. And that's all what he's good for. And he wants to make a good show for the audience. And wants a good show without a good villain that will get stronger over time. Right, for the DGP. The gardener said not to blame him if it ever backfires one day. After that, the gardener got the phone call from Madman saying that Swell is looking for Nemo. With them inside the head and up to where the goddess is. You know, where Ace's mom is. For the original show. And we actually meet up with Swell, who is still voiced by Yoshisuga Matsuona. I probably butchered that name as well, I'm sorry. Even after a whole year watching the show, I still can't pronounce that guy's name. As Swell said that, tell Nemo that he's pretty much fired. Well, more like dismissed, but no, it's real words that he's fired. And tells him to actually leave and go back to his era. And Nemo says why he's getting fired, as Swell said that he's pretty much been modifying the Yamato without his permission. And Nemo say that he wants to make a perfect game and a perfect idea for the DGP to have a villain that keeps getting stronger. As well say that it's malpractice. And we get pretty good lore saying how Nemo was the one who made the Yamato, who gave the idea to make the Yamato, and had Archimedo, the gardener, cultivate them for a long time, and saying that he was the foundation of DGP, not Swell. Wait, Swell just gets angry, tells him to watch his tone, and says to go back home. With Nemo decide to leave, but we actually see Nemo depressed in a type of shop or an inn, and he explained as he would wait for her, saying that she, quote unquote, was close to awakening. And we later get to see what he meant as Samuel arrived to question him what he means, as he explains about how there's something hidden from top management that Swell won't explain to the people, saying that the navigators hold powers as they are copies of Mitsume, you know, the goddess of creation, Ace's mom, and say that they can become gods themselves and have power of creation. We seem to surprise Samus, quote unquote. I'll explain what that means later. As Nemo talked about wanting to get Mil and actually take the sword to go down with the ship, as he wants Yamato to take the power of creation and become the next type of god of destruction or something like that. He wants the Yamato to have power of creation so he can finally have the perfect villain for the DGP. Alright, bit to perfection. Let's tone it down there a little. We don't want any problems. Meanwhile, we see Mil go recruit riders, but then actually seem to have an epiphany. She's trying to talk with Niram, saying that it is only possible to only have one winner at the end of the game. And Niram saying that that's just how things are. She can't help but wonder if the loser deserves any type of happiness as well. As she said that she's been watching witches come and go that are earnest and honest, and some of them are good, and saying that these people aren't pawns for the game, and they're trying to live their best life. But then apologizing for speaking out of turn, and she decided to leave, with the camera getting a slow-mo as Niram takes in her words and thinks about what she said. So yeah, she's gotta die, 100%. They're not really hiding it from the rest of us. We see Miu meet up with the swordsman that Jin decided to actually choose, and instantly played by the very well-known suit actor from Toku named Yasuhiro Takeuchi. Again, I probably butchered that name. I'm sorry. Telling him that he had become a Kamen Rider, and goes to get the box, which seems to struggle with the sword prop because he can't really put it in. But then Nemo appears and actually killed the swordsman, shocking Mil, as he says he wants her to grant his perfect wish. As Samuel and Niram are waiting for Mil, as they wonder that she's taking a little bit too long to get back for giving things to the rider, the Kamen Rider buckles. Samus explained that they got a message from Swell saying that Nebul has been dismissed, fired, and saying that any further malpractice shall give him access to eliminate him. Meanwhile, I see Nebul bring in Rook, the Yamato, saying that he'll bring Mil as an offering to the Yamato in order for him to gain power of the goddess. As Nero arrives, asking what Nebul is doing, and Nebul wondered how he found him, as Samus appeared behind him, pretty much showing that he backstabbed him, which of course she did. Come on, it's Samus, okay? We've seen the original show, we know what she's like. Right, pretty much he backstabbed Niram as well. And Niram asks why he's doing that, and Nebul say he wants to have the strongest villain in the DGP history to make a Yamato god for the audience, to make them fired up, as in form of entertainment. Again, Mr. Godhood, let's tone it down a little with your little godhood complex. Please tone it down. And Mia explained that cries out that she doesn't want to die or destroy the world, and she wants to continue looking over the rider. And Niram is concerned as he remembers her talk of how people are not pawns, and pretty much agrees of the fact that Mia is not a pawn either, as she spent and her time in the real world, saying that this is reality and that she's real. And Nebel doesn't understand, and he says that it's only to continue the fictional world that they live in. And Niram decided to get a sword and actually have a pretty cool sword fight between Nebel and Niram. But Niram starts to lose as he gets slashed in the face because Nebel say that he's not used to the body, like a physical body yet. But Niram decided to make a little cop out and throws out his trusty little iconic handkerchief to Nebel to distract him as he slashes his hand. And tells her that if he feels the pain yet, that's real and reality. And Nebel say he still tried to gaslight himself, saying that this is a 3.5D joyride world. And Niram say that even after all the time, he should still understand people. And Nebel say that he wanted to be like this, he should just study fossils instead, like a good little scholar. And they both get their drivers to transform. And interestingly, Nebel get the Jillion driver. So yeah, the Jillion driver from the original show that turned people to Rigado. And the Ichigo pose, and even the little cyclone effect in the background to become Kamen Rider Gazer Zero, which is pretty cool recolor of Gazer with all the Ichigo colors and the motifs and even the scarf. It actually looks pretty cool. Looks really cool. I really want that as a figurine. So yeah, they fight with Nebel pretty much winning as they pretty much uses their own power to get each other, like those little eyeball things to start shooting at one another. And they have the finisher, this time being Bust. So yeah, Mew tried to break free and actually managed a little bit, but gets caught again by Rook. And Nebel holds down Niram and says that he should watch as Rook just starts to eat Mew. And even slowly, as she slowly dies, getting eaten by the Yamato. With pretty sad music, and actually pretty sad and kind of horrifying scene as we see her just go lifeless and limp. As she gets consumed by Rook, and Niram has become pretty enraged and sad. And then we'll say that what's the matter to make a new one, as she's just a clone of the goddess. But Niram pretty much saying that Meal can't be replaced, as Meal is Meal, and no one can take her spot, not even another copy of her. So yeah, he starts to again and wail on Niram. Nebel starts to wail on Niram again, and pretty much starts to win. And had to make a finisher to destroy him, and actually managed it a little bit, but Jean arrived to help out Niram, saying that, hey, Niram just killed a children writer, and he's pretty much not satisfied at all. And they say that it should be his job to move the heart of the audience. But Niram laughs, saying that he should just become a normal audience member, just stay out of it. And Niram saying that DGP should actually strive for realism, as he and Jean fight off Nemo together, which is pretty cool. And Niram later killed the Yamato, leaving behind a strange fruit on the ground. We might actually have this foreshadowing later on, which I'll explain. Nebel becomes angry that he's pretty much had enough of these two just ruining his plan, and they all fight. And they continue to wail on each other between Nebel and Niram. And there's a pretty cool camera movement, camera work, and it goes around them and actually has a fish lens at the bottom. Like, it looks really cool. I really like the way that the camera used it during the fight scene. And all three of them decide to prepare the finisher. But it's pretty much 2v1 with a pretty cool rider kick combination. And they use their kicks to like attack Nebel and actually use their kick to block Nebel's kicks. Like, it looks really cool. And they later use the double rider kick, defeating Nebel once and for all and killing him with a cool explosion at the end. Really cool. I really like the fight scene. This is a really cool fight scene. And Nebel tried to flee, but then starts to disintegrate and glitch as he, quote unquote, died. But we saw from the beginning, they don't really die as long as your body is in the future still intact. So nothing really bad will happen to them. As the gardeners at Archimedo arrived, saying that he told him so, okay, he did. But then see the mutation plants left behind, from the other times that the Rook Yamato left behind as well. Saying that it actually really worth the effort to have the mutation. And the new clone is created from the goddess, and it's the one we know of, Sumuri. As Niram welcomes her with Niram theme song playing in the background, the one that's called Non-Fiction. And he tells her that he is the new navigator, which she accepts, as he's just learning about the real world, talking about going out for some dango. And knowing more about the human nature is important to know about how to watch over the writers and learn about them. We finally have Niram explain that he had been watching over a producer of many DGP, as his memory is fully restored, with Jean being there to congratulate him and actually welcome him back in. But then they get an intruder detected, as it's actually the Yamato with the creation god power, which seemed to shock everybody. And Jean tried to fight it and blasted it away, but then he seemed to be killed by it, like a type of tentacle little vine thing goes through Jean and seems to kill him. Because remember, as long as their bodies originally from the future in unharmed, they will never die. But now that Geats get to die, and it's a big thing, as Ace in the God form arrives, saying that there is a way to prevent it. And Niram tries to set him somewhere in the past. And he said that he wants Ace to change the world. As the DGP rules say that producer oversees and looks after all parts of DGP management and operation. So yeah, this whole special was just a lead up to the Yamato Awakening film that was released. You know, the one where Baffa finally gets his final form. So yeah, it was all just a setup to that movie. And yeah, I'm pretty glad I actually watched it first before the movie, so I can at least get some of the idea. So I guess the next video I have to upload will be the movie after I watch it. Overall, it was actually a pretty good special actually. I really like the action, the acting from the actors were really good, and I do like the little story between Niram and Mew. Even though it was short-lived, it is kind of basic and generic. I don't care, I like this type of storytelling in Rider. Also, at least give a good explanation with some lore of how the DGP would use the Yamato, and Nebula explaining that he asked the Archimel to create them and cultivate the Yamato. And at least pretty good, like, leading up to the movie of the VC Neck. And also, just my little complaint that Jean is just now, I guess, officially dead and isn't coming back. And it kind of sucked that he just half-heartedly died in this movie and then nothing happened. I want to know if they'll ever bring him back, or maybe he's not actually dead, but we'll have to wait and see. And even the action is pretty cool. The action is really well made with the filming, the camera movement, and like everything's just really good in this. It is a little special. Rating wise, I give this movie an 8.2 out of 10. What do you guys think? Do you like this special or do you not? How do you feel about it being a lead up to the movie Yamato Awakening? Have you seen Yamato Awakening, or have you seen the special and just did not know they would actually lead up to it and add an explanation for why this Yamato god was awakened with the creation powers? Leave a comment down below. Let's talk more about Kamen Rider. Peace.